day, Penn are reaching the quarterfinals. And Cascadon wins the opening draw. Cornell will push early. They scored 20 last time out against Yale, and just like that, the Big Red on the board first.
The hot streak continues. 20-10 win over the Bulldogs last week. Up 8-2 in that game early. Cascadon, the freshman from Garden City, Long Island. He's big for a Fogo, 6'3", 200 pounds. I'd love, Anish, to see more transition out of Penn this year. They're not really running the way they did a year ago from defense to offense or off face-off wins.
Yeah, they've been banged up at times. Sam Hanley feeding Tynan Walsh his second goal of the season. And the injuries for Penn, the big one, Dylan Gergar going down. He was one of their starting attackmen, and Tynan Walsh has filled that role. He gets on the board first for Penn.
And one thing we'll talk about today is Penn's lack of Dodgers not named Sam Hanley. But don't label Hanley.
With Penn, Ben Smith to trigger.
Quakers are 3-3. They've been playing in tons of close games, low-scoring close games, long possession type games.
They've been, over the last 2 years, the best entertainment dollar in lacrosse. On the doorstep, nifty move. It's Walsh with his second. Couple of dekes to get Chase Erlin out of his shoes, and Penn's got a 2-1 lead.
Second chance possession by Penn on the Erlin rebound. They get the restart, the reset of the shot clock, and it starts with a wing dodge from Shipley. Draws the double team. That's critical because then Walsh on the backside has the defense in disarray. Right there, the double team is drawn. The recovery from Cornell, there's a moment of hesitation.
It's time. Casey Mulligan, his cousin Rob, a standout goalie at Syracuse. Bounce shot and a score for Penn. Robert Shane, 9th goal of his career, 5th this season, and it is 3 straight by the Quakers.
That's big. Because how many possessions in the course of a game will Sam Hanley be sitting on the bench? I was scanning the field and saying, where's 26? Where's 26? I don't see him. There's no 26. How is Penn going to score without 26? Well, they're just fine. They get it behind the goal to Shane, the senior from Bullis. 9th point of the season. Balanced stats. And I like the set here. Offensive coordinator Mike Abbott designs it so his midfielder is
in terms of attacking this D.
Ball reversal off the initial attack.
Kelleher whiffs.
Yeah, from 10 yards, he put himself in a position to get double teamed.
And there's Lavelle off the ground. And now Smith.
And White, I mean, he was the difference maker last week, and not a good sign that he hasn't played yet today. Or I haven't seen him. I don't know.
He missed the first 5 games with an injury, came back last week. Had a hat trick and an assist against Yale in that 20-10 shellacking. Yale's given up 20 goals now in back-to-back games. They got torched by Princeton yesterday. There's a hard shot, and it's Cam Rubin. He scored 11 goals in his first 4 games, had not scored a goal in his last 2. It's 4-1 Penn, 4 unanswered by the Quakers, 3 different goal scorers. And this attack that we've been waiting on from Penn has 3 of them.
What's most impressive, earlier I talked about Penn's lousy stats and how they look like garbage on paper. Like, this is a 3-3 team. They don't do anything particularly well. But this team shows up every week.
How about CJ Kerr's 5-hole beating Carroll low, and he gets one back for Cornell.
That's a spot, right? I mean, that is his spot. First day of practice, coach comes out and says, CJ, where's your favorite spot? Where do you want to operate? Where do you want the ball? Well, it's that high left, high wing. They get a switch. The pick is effective. He's on a shorty.
Not much of a opening there.
Nice handle by Carroll. Really good job by Emmett Carroll. The save is quality.
Driving down the alley. Picked up by Adler on the switch, and now a bounce shot by Rubin is blocked, and off the ground Walker Wallace. Cornell pushing transition. Nobody picked up the ball till it was too late, and Michael Bozzi scores the first goal of his career.
The Boz man. Watch this shot gets blocked. It hit Smith, Ben Smith, and Cornell's off to the races with that turnover high in the zone. Defense doesn't respect Bozzi. Turn and rake. Watch him sniff this out. Really patient. Like he wants to pass it. He wants to pass it. Suddenly he's in at 10 yards. I mean, that's a good look from dead center.
First goal of Bozzi's career, sophomore from the Haverford School. Angelo Petrakis wins the faceoff, and Cornell can hold for one final shot here in the opening quarter. The stakes are high in the Ivy. Last year, this league cleaned up in non-conference. It made their conference games essentially a platform for all the teams to boost their RPI, boost strength of schedule. They got 6 teams into the NCAA tournament. They're not getting 6 this year. Kirst has his shot blocked. This year there have been some hits and scars in non-conference, and these games in league now matter much more. Billy Coyle wide, and quarter number 1 comes to an end. Penn, the road warrior early. They used a 4-1 spurt to take a 3-goal lead. Cornell responded with Kirst and Bozzi. 1 quarter in the books in gorgeous Ithaca.
I don't know what their long-term prognosis is, but they deserve a lot of credit. And I'm seeing Penn State and Nova as being really improved teams.
Yeah, you want to talk about a big moment in the Ivy League. How about Dartmouth? Cornell evens this game at 4. It's C.J. Kirst with his second. That was simply, I'll win my matchup, and he does just that.
Big Red, it's not a switch. This is strength on strength. This is Lavelle, a righty, and Kirst is just too strong. Watch him on the change of direction right here. He drops his hips.
He's about to get going and become another factor from that Cornell midfield. He's played a little first midfield, a little second midfield. Kirst left hand free, and a first quarter hat trick for C.J. Kirst. Goal number 30 on the season.
Wow. This one, there's the fire, there's the passion, okay? He loves the game. You spend time with him, it's constant smiling. He's got a shorty on him who's pressing out. They switch to Bond, 54, who's a very good defender. Piper Bond, 54, could be a pro, a PLL, Premier Lacrosse League defender, but there's no shorty in the country that can stay with Kirst. Look at him spin. He made his debut last week against Yale. He's a true rock star. This is a good team without Michael Long. This could be a great offense with him. Look how tight they are to the goal. They're all within 12 yards of the cage.
Woo! Helicopter check. Peter Blake took it away from Coyle.
Little yard sale on a beautiful Sunday in Ithaca, New York. Yeah, picked off.
Aiden Blake gets it back.
That was a nice look. Ricocheted off the post, I believe.
Blake down the alley all the way, bounces it in. He got past his man, Quint. Nobody picked him up. And that's 4 straight, make it 5 straight for Cornell.
Aiden Blake's got a lot of talent. Deep been dealing with a knee injury, as you can see. As a right-handed step-down shooter off a ball movement, he's lethal. He scored righty on the run against Yale last week. And this is just kind of diversifying the depth of contribution now. As that knee gets better.
Adler shadowing him, and that might be a big part of it, Q. Here's Fury. Now Hanley going to work against Adler. Shot clock at 15. Handley from up top. Marked by Jack Follows, who came on the second half of last year. Sam Handley said, "You rang?"
Yeah, I mean, he just when he's determined to get to certain areas of the field, it's almost impossible to stop him without 2 men. You see him zigging and zagging, in and out, puts his shoulder down and says, "I'm getting to the middle right-handed." and does that. Runs right through, follows like he's not there, and gets to about 11 yards, dead center.
Work on his business next year. Here comes Piatelli. His brother John was a prolific goal scorer who graduated after last season. Kelleher to Billy Coyle, and Cornell gets it back 7-5.
Coyle's had a strong early season. A lot thrown on his shoulders with the injury to Michael Long. This is just a case where Penn's defense, we talked about their tight splits. Watch how low they all end up. That's a 10-yard shot, and you see all the blue jerseys real tight. They'll give up this outside shot as part of their base team historically through the decades. I don't know if any other program that has produced more program-type players. Guys whose role grows, guys who they find a role to suit the strengths of a certain player.
You're right. If Michael Long can be healthy for the stretch run, what is a tough offense to defend becomes exponentially tougher. And how about Michael Bawsey, the short stick D-mid, he's staying on the field off the feed from Coyle. Bawsey scoring the first 2 goals of his career this afternoon.
The Boz man, CJ Kirst, we were asking him about nicknames. I said, what's Bawsey? The Boz? He goes, no, the Boz man. Here he just sets down inside, and Penn loses their matchups for a second. You see the close to
Handley dumps it down to Fury. Here's Gabe Fury, fires, saved by Erlin. Fury's another guy, Quint. He emerged down the stretch last year. He's been slowed early this year by a hammer.
Milliman moved to Johns Hopkins. Took over during COVID, basically. Tough time. I can't remember in any sport seeing a leader under the age of 30 be as successful as Busick.
Meanwhile, CJ Kirst has been unstoppable. That's 4 in the first half for CJ. He's had big games this season. 6 against Albany, 7 against Hobart, 4 against Ohio State, 5 against Yale last week, and he's been a one-man maelstrom against Penn.
What did he tell us on Friday when we spoke to him? He said, I've been working. Nicely tied up that time was Hanley. It's a Penn team with only 19 unassisted goals coming in, and make that 20.
That looked like Shipley coming down the alley. His brother Will. Yeah, the running back at Clemson, and James Shipley's a great athlete who can beat his man off a dodge. His 5th of the year.
Shipley plays their two-way role, but he's got such enthusiasm. He's a selfless player, and he does have the athletic ability to make people look silly in space. This is a really nice move, how he sets up his right hand and leaves himself some angle. Press seams, draw doubles, then you move the ball to Hanley. I think everybody eats.
Here's Handley out there with Mullane and Shane, a couple of second-line midfielders. Handley lost his balance, gives it back up to Rubin from up top. Hugh the Hammer. Hugh Mullane, 5 straight games with a goal. And Quint, that started with the hockey assist by Sam Handley.
This is classic Penn this season. Hanley draws the eyes of the defense, and while Adler does a great job, he gets underneath him, he turns him, but the double is drawn momentarily. And then you see that, look at the spacing, how that third defender, 50 in white, had to step and help to the middle. That's all because of Hanley. The one more pass across the top, righty rip, split to his right. So impressed with what I'm seeing from him now as a junior.
Cascadon wins the first face-off of the second half.
Interesting year in that the Ivy League doesn't have a dominant Fogo.
Well, Dartmouth does. And we saw what they did to Harvard yesterday, finally getting off the schneid, winning their first conference game since 2015. And again, Dartmouth,
great scene for Dartmouth in their locker room. Poor Harvard now. They're 3-5 since making the tournament a year ago.
Oh, great passing on the interior. And it's Ben Smith coming off that 4-goal game against Princeton who finishes, and Penn closes to within 1.
Smith from Fury. This is left to right move by Gabe Fury at goal line extended, and he just jams that one to the backside. Most points, least amount of time with the ball in his stick goes to. They've got good shorties in Piper Bond and Hilgartner and Canet and Palazzo.
Farrar back in 2019 was such a big part of their transition offense. Hands free, Hugh Mullane with his second. Freight train running downhill, get out of the way, we're tied at 9.
4 straight by Penn, dating back to that second quarter. Mullane's got 2 of the 4. We've seen Shipley score unassisted. Just much more impactful dodging. That's a pass and then a pick. That's an old school pass away pick, and Mullane's able to curl with his speed topside. And he spoke to us about this being a team game, and sometimes it's complex. And look, Mike Murphy, Sam Handley, and the brain trust there of Mike Abbott and Doug Nider. Let me tell you, there's nobody working harder to try to figure this out offensively for Penn.
Meanwhile, Cornell retakes the lead at 10-9. That's Brian Piatelli, his second of the game, 9th of the season. Starting on attack again with Michael Long, missing a 6th game.
Yeah, we were led to believe that Long would start. Lombardi off the pick, that's the one more pass. So you get the Penn's defense rotational, and the pass across the formation and then down low. That's a really good team offense by Cornell.
Penn got back in time. They'll pack in their defense as usual. Here comes Dalton, feeds it back to X. Coyle. Piatelli's got the short stick Arnold. Now picked up by the long pole. Hard shot from the wing, and it finds the back of the net. It's Aiden Blake, his second of the game, his 6th of the season. A 3-point afternoon for Blake, who had 2 goals last week. And boy, that's a great sign for Cornell if he's getting going and finding his form last year pre-injury.
Young players, watch this. Double team drawn on the corner. Across the formation, 1 more up top. Step down City. Terrific team offense. They press the corner, draw the double, change fields. Now the defense
spins it back to X. Still plenty of time to shoot.
Nice D.
Kelleher. Penn packed it in. Darren Kelleher from the outside. And the former high school football star on the island makes it 12-9. Game of runs. One team goes on a run. The other counters. Now it's 3 straight by Cornell.
Cornell putting on a clinic. This is really good defense right here against Coyle. No double team needed, but Penn comes. They rotate behind it, but as you said, Anisha, just too condensed. The big man. All of a sudden in this game, they're just playing tons of defense between the face-off issues they're having and now a 2-minute extra man.
And it's non-releasable. So the extra man for the full 2 minutes. Cornell 6 out of 15 with the man up this season. Lombardi a couple of fake passes, now gives it to Coyle, over to Kirst. Kelleher fakes the pass, Kirst back up top to Keller, over to the wing. Blake, Kelleher back to Blake, it gets away. 1:20 to go on the extra man. Cornell still looking for its first shot here. Kelleher thought about it, now Kirst. Left hand free, top shelf. He's got 5 back-to-back 5-goal games for the junior out of New Jersey.
That's classic. Cornell's extra man, okay? You expect to see like an extra man goal, a tic-tac-toe passing goal. Like CJ had enough, okay? CJ had enough of watching his teammates spin the ball around the outside. So he'll catch this on the corner, and he dodges the man to get topside. That's like the most un-extra man goal you'll ever see. He had enough. He goes.
Mullane against Wertheim. Lowers his body using the frame. Falls out.
D.
Adler vacuums. He's like a Tasmanian devil out there.
Ended up playing at Hewlett High School, which is a town over from where I grew up, but his feet and his hand placement.
That shot blocked off the cross by Lombardi. And Carroll now will try to set up the clear. Cornell was an elite riding team last year. They still are. Opponents clearing at just 81%. Penn clears at 95%. Now that's exceptional.
It's a great number by Penn. So talked earlier about how they got some issues on the stat sheet.
How about Shipley? His second of the game, the Weddington Warrior. And Penn puts an end to this 4-0 Cornell run.
Shipley's played strong in this game.
Cornell was moving it around well. We come up on a minute to play in the third. Top 15 matchup in Ithaca. Coyle! Momentum taking him one way, the shot going the other, and he finds the back of the net. Second goal for Billy Coyle, 4-point game.
Tell you, look at Coyle. Look at Coyle, pound for pound, one of the toughest athletes on campus. I'd put him third, actually, behind Vito Arujau and Yanni Diakomahalis, NCAA championship wrestlers. Then there's Coyle. Look at this guy. They got him right where they want him. Now, faceoffs are an issue right now. Cornell's winning the majority.
Ethan Costanzo.
And you just worry about Penn's fatigue defensively, Nish. You know, it's just how many body punches can a defense take?
Well,
and again, they pack it in off the ball. Look at all the five guys off the ball, how tight they are to the crease.
Here comes Kirst. He's got 5 goals. Give him a sock trick.
How efficient has he been today? I mean, amount of touches versus points. This is in the Slim Reaper territory of least time ball and stick, most time name and scorebook. You got Farrar now playing short stick, 70 in blue. He's usually an LSM, so some switches in Penn, and
now you're down 5. The calculus changes.
This is a game they probably should have. Well, they just haven't had the ball much because of faceoffs. But because of that, you'd like to invest maybe a little more heavily into your ride, knowing, hey, how can we make up a faceoff disparity?
Here's Hanley from distance. Oh, a Hercules blast from Sam Hanley.
He does something every game where it's just like, okay, I get it now. Like a reminder. Pro player on the field playing college lacrosse. Just the power, the speed, and the accuracy here from distance. It's just like, okay, yeah, the 26, he's pretty good. That's right. Don't forget about him. You can feel
that's not fair. That's not fair.
I know. Sent down, and Alex Slusher, who plays at Princeton. Ross Scott having a nice year for Rutgers. They'll play tonight.
Petrakis the other way to Kirst. Lucky number 7 for C.J. Kirst. How about the counter punch? How many times have we seen that today? Doesn't matter who's at the faceoff X. That's 2 or 3 goals now, right off the faceoff win for Cornell.
I got Kirst now, 7 goals, I think on 10 shots. The behind the back that hit off of Carroll.
Not placement in the NCAA tournament? Not the case this year. And it should be a great scene too. Columbia, New York. You got New York City, where there's a big Ivy League alumni hub. Cornell, though, has separated itself. They've been the class of the Ivy. And if you start to look at the closing stretch, Quint, for Cornell, Dartmouth, Harvard, Marquette, Army.
Smile, doesn't he? He always packs his smile. For a young man who lost his dad when he's 12, I draw strength.
the last couple of years, we've had a real chance to get to know that family. His brother Colin, who played goalie at Rutgers, mom Michelle, and just a breath of fresh air. Given all that they've been through, there is a feeling of gratitude. They uplift those around them. It's fun to see.
Yeah, no, it's rubbed off on me, quite honestly.
Yeah, you're as cynical as they come.
See, now CJ is so positive. He's so forward-looking. Guess who?
Sam Hanley. I mean, Quint, it's just if I want to, I can, and he did.
No, I know. Again, there's a superhero on the field that says, okay, it's your time in the show here. You know, before we go to commercial break, you got to do something crazy. And here's Hanley, covered by Adler, who's in good spot. Look at Adler digging in, trying his best, and Hanley just leans through him and says, I'm getting my right hand.
30 seconds. 60
by world-class attackmen, dating back to Eamon McEnany, Timmy Goldstein, Pennell, Jeff Teat. And there you see it. He's got the ball on his stick, and he's spending time to, couldn't tell if that was a positive or negative feedback to a teammate. It probably was positive, but more demonstrative, more vocal.
That was too easy. Coyle to Andrew Dalton. 7th of the season for the Big Red Rifle.
Extra man, he's got two guys inside. Penn thinks their coverage.
You would maybe think on paper, and for all the people out there saying, well, they beat this team and this team, at the end of the day, we've seen this in the past so many times, Quint. I try not to make too much of the polls anymore. The committee defaults to RPI. That's what they do.
Yes, and with that being said,
Coyle
shot by
scores
Coyle. Yeah, Carroll kind of loses his bearings here. His angle play is not ideal. But that being said, Princeton's the type of team where every league game this year matters dramatically. They have to get into that Ivy League tournament, okay? And once they're going to have to win at least one game. They don't have any kind of resume right now and until this weekend, until that win over Yale. That's their...
Another 2 minutes. We might be talking about a different narrative in the offseason. This Cornell team, with the target on its back, with the weight of expectations, has delivered. Now 6-1, a top 5 program by every standard, and Quint, a bona fide contender.
And I think what you look for today is being solid up the middle. Chase Erlin, their goaltender, not a huge volume of saves, but quality. The face-off game with Angelo Petrakis and Jack Kaskadden ultimately may have made the difference here, because I thought they tilted the possession battle in their favor and Penn kind of wore out.